Of course, take up as much room as you'd like here. As you start to feel your body grow heavier into the floor, take a scan of your physical body. Noticing any areas that could use extra support this morning, extra space. And then we use the breath to expand from within. As you breathe in, all the way to the bottom of the lungs, feeling your belly rise, feeling the chest open, the collarbone smiling. As you exhale, releasing every drop from the body. Begin to regulate your breath. I'm going to offer at the beginning to expand the exhale a little bit more than the inhale. See if you can lengthen out the breath out as it creates more space for the next breath in. With every inhalation comes an exhalation, perhaps twice as long. Begin to smooth out the texture of your breath. Resting your awareness on the texture as you inhale. And every drop releasing on the exhale. And then bring one hand to the heart center, one hand to the belly. Feeling the breath rise into your hands. Feeling the beating of your heart. And then cultivating your intention for practice this morning. So how do you want to feel? And what thoughts get you there? And we'll start to awaken by wiggling the toes, by wiggling the fingertips, reaching those arms overhead. Taking a really big stretch and yawn. Taking the legs forward. And then go ahead and start to bend your body over to the right side of your mat. Upper body and arms start to bend over to the right. You can hook that left ankle above the right. You can grab a hold of your left wrist. And then coming back to the center, we switch sides. Bending the body over to the left. Feeling that lovely stretch from the right wrist all the way down to that heel. And then bringing the body back through the center. And then just interlace the fingertips behind your head as if you're stargazing, letting the body just rest. Letting the weight of your head create a little more opening in the chest. Let the elbows drop really heavy. And we simply bend the knees, keeping the hands as is. Bring the knees up over the hips. And then we'll let the legs fall over to the left. And I'm just been really loving this twist, using the support of the head for a little bit more weight in the opening in the chest. And it's okay if the elbows don't quite touch the floor, but just feel the stretch, feel gravity drawing the arms down. And then drawing those legs back up to the center, and then letting the knees fall over to the right. Every exhale, feeling the opening in the chest towards the sky. And the heaviness of that left elbow. And then we'll bring the legs back up to the center, lowering the feet down to the floor, knees remain bent, releasing those arms, bring them at your side body. Draw the heels in close towards your glutes. We're moving into rolling bridge with arms. On the inhale, we start to lift up in the hips, taking those arms overhead, low back lifts, mid spine lifts, upper spine. And as you lift up, 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 really feel the chest towards the chin. Exhale to lower, upper, mid, low back hips. Arms come back at your side. And on your own, the inhale helps you rise up. The exhale lets you lower. Take a couple more rounds. So we're starting to strengthen that back body. Really nice posture for low back hair. And last one here, breath in. And opening up the chest into that mild back bend, squeezing the glutes. Exhale, we lower all the way back down, right into Uttanasana. Knees come into the chest, cupping the knees with your hands, fingertips forward. Exhale the breath, really hug the thigh in towards your belly. And then on the inhale, straighten out your arms. Exhale to squeeze and hug the thigh back into your chest. Keep going. And once again here, see if you can get that exhale twice as long. As the thigh comes into your belly, drawing the diaphragm up, it creates more space for your low back. Let's take two more. And last one here. Keeping the legs really snug in towards your belly. Squeeze in and then start to lift your shoulder blades up off the floor, bringing your nose to knee. Your head back down into the mat. You're going to start to rock side to side. And then some of you may be coming all the way down towards the floor and right back up over to the other side. And then as you come back up to the center, you'll keep the right knee to the chest, extend the left leg towards the top of your mat. Hug the thighs snug. Knee opens up towards the right shoulder. Option for half happy baby here. You're moving to half happy baby. That right arm comes to the inside of your thigh, grabbing towards the pinky edge side of your foot, lifting the foot towards the ceiling. And plug your shoulder back in, relaxing towards the floor. And then we go ahead and release that as we bring the knee up through the center, moving into a twist. Right arm extends out. We draw the knee across the chest. You can scooch up on that left hip a little bit. You can also straighten out your right leg here. And then taking your gaze over to the right. And then slowly release, soft bend in the knees. You can come back up to the center. Knees bent, adjust the hips and spine. Bring yourself back to neutral as you bring the left knee into the chest. Right leg straightens out to the top of your mat. Lengthen through your tailbone by pressing through the heel. And then start to squeeze the thigh towards the belly more. Knee opens up towards the left shoulder. Option for your half happy baby. Now it's easy to lose that connection with that right side. Encourage your hip down to the floor, straightening out the leg, pressing through your heel. And then we release as we move into our twist. The leg comes up to the center, left arm extends out, slowly drawing across the chest. Maybe scooching up on that right hip a little bit. And you have the option to straighten out your left leg here, creating a little more sensation in the outer hip. And then you can take the gaze over to the left. Couple more breaths here. And then go and soften your knee, bring the leg back up to the center. Knees are bent again, adjust the hips and spine. This time we rock and roll lengthwise on the spine. Keep going. Eventually coming up into your feet as we move right into boat. So find your sit bones, Navasana. We start to lean back a bit. Keeping your chest up, hands can be behind the thighs on the mat or reaching forward. Start to lift up one foot, then the other. And just notice if you start to round in here, start to lift up a little bit more, keeping your spine elongating. Pointing your toe, let's just play here. Maybe start to tap one toe to the floor and then switch. Some of you may be straightening out the legs. Take a couple more rounds on each side. And then we'll start to lower those legs down. Let those knees open up. Take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. You can use your elbows to press into your thighs. And then gently rising up. And just cross your shin bones into a regular seat. We're moving into seated cat-cow. Hands on those knees. Now start to tuck that tailbone under around your spine. Tuck your chin. Inhale, drawing the chest forward, opening up the chest, opening the throat, looking up. Exhale to tuck the chin and round your spine. Last time here, breath in and breath out. Now keeping the legs crossed, back to neutral, walk the hands behind you. Fingertips are facing forward. Start to lean back and then really press into your hands, lifting up in the chest. For a little bit more stretch in the shoulders, the deltoids, you'll start to bend your elbows towards the back of your mat more. And then we'll all straighten out those arms. Option to lift your hips here. Rising up, opening up in the chest. And then we'll all lower back down into the floor. Beautiful. Come back into that regular seat. We'll move into upper body. Hands on the knees, sit tall in the spine, right ear to right shoulder. Then reach and cross with that right hand. Give your head a gentle nudge down. And then taking that left hand, palm turns out, bring that hand to your low back. Walk that hand over towards the right side of your body. And then releasing that right hand to the floor, we reach the left hand up to the sky. Inhale. And then taking a bend over to the right, exhale. And then coming back up, we'll switch sides. Left ear to left shoulder. Reach and cross with that left hand and gentle weighting down. Keep elongating through the spine. And then taking that right hand, turn the palm towards the back of you and then to your low back. Wiggle, wiggle that hand over. And releasing your left hand down to the floor, reach that right hand high, inhale, and then taking your bend on the exhale. And then we come back up, inhale, and to release, exhale. Inhale, taking those palms up, reach up to the ceiling. Looking up, walk your rib cage up. Exhale to bend your elbows into cactus arms. Inhale to reach back up to the ceiling. Exhale to bend your elbows. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. This time we reach back up to the ceiling, breath. We twist over to the right on the breath out, releasing the arms down to the floor. Right hand behind you, propping your spine and gazing over your shoulder. Breath in to reach those arms up and breath out to twist over to the left. And then coming back to the center, finding T-arms this time. Inhale. Exhale to take that left hand over your shoulder, right hand behind your back again. So again, palm is turning out and then start to twist over to the right. So you can keep walking that left hand, maybe find that shoulder blade. We come back through T-arms, inhale, switching sides, exhale, right arm across the chest, left hand behind you, twist and turn. And then inhale back to the center. Exhale to release your hands, fingertips touching the floor, spine lengthening. We tuck the chin, moving into neck rolls. Chin to shoulder, head dip back, and all the way around. And then going the other direction. Eventually bringing your head back to the center. We bring the hands to the shoulders. Big shoulder rolls, elbow rolls. And then going the other direction. And then to the center as you bicycle the elbows. And then going the other direction. And then to the center, release, just shake out the shoulders, the arms. And then finally just into wrists, we'll take those hands forward, tuck your thumb underneath, and then rotate your wrist around. Fingertips continue to face towards the floor. And then the other direction. And then release that. We just shake it out. And coming into all fours, swing the legs behind you. Fingertips spread wide, wrists directly underneath the shoulders. Knees underneath your hips as you inhale, uncurl that tailbone, draw the chest and heart forward. You're right back into cow. Exhale into cat. And then eventually find your way back into a neutral spine. You're going to do the exact same thing except without moving your spine. Tailbone uncurling and curling under. So we're isolating the movement right in the pelvis. Sometimes this is where we get stuck. Those deep muscles in the hips and glutes. Curl and uncurl. It's okay if your spine moves a little bit with it. That's just a natural movement. Let's see if you can really isolate just in the hips, curling the tailbone under and uncurling. Do that a few more times through. And then go right back into full cat-cow and just see how that feels. If there's any more opening for you. And then eventually on the next exhale, you're either in child's pose or downward facing dog. Yogi's choice. So just remember, if you're in downward facing dog, press through those hands, start to feel your chest towards your thigh a little bit more. Great, you guys. Some of you can pedal out the feet, sway those hips. If you're in child's pose, maybe just swaying side to side in those hips or ironing out your forehead. A few more breaths there. And then in the next sequence, we'll meet back in all fours. I'm going to extend that right leg back behind you. Ball the foot on the floor, press through your heel. Yep. Take an inhale here, keeping your shoulders over those wrists, and then on the exhale, press back through that heel. So we're just stretching out that back line of your leg, creating a little more space in the back of your knee. Take a couple more rounds. Great, you guys. Scoop in that belly so don't dump into your low back. And then taking pause there, go ahead and start to lift that right foot up, place it to the left side of your mat. There you go. And then walk the hands over to the left. So you're creating that lovely stretch, lovely C shape in the body. You can gaze behind you. Awesome, you guys. Continue to press through that heel so you're energizing the leg. And then come back to the center. Foot comes back into placement. And then switch sides. You're in all fours. Left leg extends back. Ball the foot on the mat. Yes. And then shift forward and back. It's called dynamic stretching. We're just warming up the leg using repetition. Couple more rounds. Good, using that breath. And then your weight shifts forward, back into, there you go, shoulders over the wrist. Pick that left foot up over to the right side of your mat. And then walk the hands over to the right, gazing behind you if you'd like. And then bringing yourself back through the center, back into all fours. We'll extend the right leg this time over to the right side of the room. So you're extending heel in alignment with your knee. We'll take that left hand, inhale, reach off, exhale, threading the needle, dropping down to your shoulder. Your fingertips reaching towards your toes. You can stay right here for balance. You can also open up into more of a twist, taking that right hand behind you. So just be mindful of the shift in your weight here. And then bringing your right hand down to the floor, rise back up. Moving into gate pose. So we lift up on the legs. Inhale, take those arms up to the ceiling. Exhale to bend over to the right. So letting your right hand just tickle down your leg. And then bringing those hands back down to the floor, all fours, switching sides. Left leg extends out. Right hand reaches off, inhale, and then threading the needle, exhale. We drop down to that right shoulder. Staying right here or reaching that left hand behind you. Again, just be mindful of the opening in the chest. Shift the weight. And then rising back up on those knees. We inhale, reach those arms up to the ceiling, big breath. Taking a bend over to the left on that breath out. And gate pose. And then coming back up, hands down to the floor, knees coming back into all fours. Walk the hands out a little bit wider, do some hip circles here. So keeping the legs zippered, sway the hips over to one direction, and then just circle the pelvis all the way around. And then other direction. And then into a kneeling plank. If you want a little bit more, curl your toes under and lift your knees up. Do 3 chaturangas. Leaning forward, elbows are squeezing in tight, lower halfway, push right back up, inhale. Exhale, lower halfway, right back up, breath in. Exhale, lower halfway. And then either all the way down to your belly or into upward facing dog or cobra pose. And the exhale, we all lower down onto the mat, belly dropped. Walk your hands out a little bit wider. So elbows are lifting up, hands are in alignment with the shoulders. I think of spider legs. Lift up in your chest, press into those fingertips. And then just imagine you're squeezing a ball. So squeeze those palms, those fingertips rather, together. And then drop your right shoulder down, gaze over to the left. Back through the center, inhale. Exhale, opposite shoulder drops. Inhale, back through the center. And then lowering down, exhale. Arms at your side body. This is option 1, palms will be facing down. Otherwise, option 2 is to interlace fingertips behind your back, knuckles reaching towards your heel. Zipper the legs together. On the inhale, we start to lift up in the chest, taking the gaze gently forward. Strengthening your back, opening up the chest. Exhale to lower, gaze over to the right. Relax hips. Second round, forehead to the mat. Inhale to lift up in the chest. Option to lift your legs with you here. Exhale to lower back down, gazing other direction. Coming back to the center, bring your hands to your forehead, create a little pillow for yourself. And bend your knees, windshield the legs to the left and to the right. And then straightening out the legs, we go right into half frog. So you're gonna bend your knee, doesn't matter which knee you start with. You're going to start to bend one knee towards your shoulder. So the thigh is opening up, toes are turning out. You can stay here, let your head drop, or rise up into more of a Sphinx variation. That just will create a little bit more stretch. Notice if this is too much on low back, you can just drop back down to the floor. Now start to really press your thigh, your inner thigh towards the floor. And go ahead and start to straighten your leg back out, and we switch sides. Other knee slides up towards your shoulder, foot is flexed, toes curl towards your knee. And again, just see how this side feels. Sometimes the two sides require slightly different variations. You need to drop down, otherwise press into those forearms, lift up, up, up. And then wherever you're at, start to press your thigh into the floor a little bit more. And then go ahead and start to slide that leg back. Bring your hands to the floor, elbows up, push yourself up and back into child's pose or downward facing dog for a counter stretch and low back. Wiggle those hips out. And then if you're in child's pose, lift up and curl your toes under. If you're in down dog, you start to walk the hands back towards the knees. We all lift those knees up if they're not already there. If you're in a squat, the knees will open up, the heels will come to touch. If this is too much, just forward fold over your legs. Essentially, we're in garland pose. You can walk those hands forward. Such a nice stretch for low back. And then walking those hands back, we'll do some drills here. We'll start to lift up in those hips, straightening out the legs, and then bend back into your knees. So knees can open up or go zipper the legs together. It doesn't matter how low you go. Okay. So let your body decide. Warming up the knees, feeling again a little bit more repetition to help us stretch the back of the legs, low back. Keep going. Now, I even give you an option for those of you that want a little bit more in the straightening out the legs. You can lift your heels. It'll be more of a calf raise. You'll keep your heels lifting up the whole time. So for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We straighten out the legs, lower those heels if they're lifted. Walk your feet out a little bit wider, give yourself some space. Heels are turning in, toes are turning out. And just sway, finger paint your mat. Interlacing fingertips behind your back, reaching those knuckles up, maybe overhead. If this is too much, just go ahead and bring the hands to your low back. And just let go of anything you carry. The weight in the shoulders, the head, shake the head no, shake the head yes. Then releasing the hands down to the floor, soft bending your knees, and gently just roll your way up. You're going to stay as is. Your feet are a little bit wider than hip distance. Go and interlace the fingertips at your head, behind your head, and then just press your head into your hands and just feel your hands press back. And then bring your head back to neutral. And then we take a bend over to the right. Back to center, a bend over to the left. And then rising back up. This is the inhale. On the exhale, go ahead and just let yourself drop down into a fold. You'll do a little pendulum on the breath out. Inhale brings you back up all the way around. Exhale, Taking that fold, little sway. Breath in brings you all the way up. So just keep going on your own. Maybe explore going the other direction. And then eventually we'll all find that fold. Letting your head hang really heavy. Move the hands more towards the base of your neck, or base of your skull rather. So give yourself a little more traction. Weighting the head down. Keep a soft bend in your knees. And then releasing those hands. Then walk the feet out a little bit wider. We're going into a squat. Bending those knees so now the feet are opened up. And then you can gently lift the hips back up. Do that a couple times. Again, not so concerned how low you go. And then eventually finding your way a little more towards the floor in those hips. If possible, you can use your elbows to press into your knees. Some of you sinking down in the pelvis even more into a squat. You can bring the hands to the heart if that serves you. Otherwise, just hold and use your elbows to press into your thighs. We're here for a couple breaths. Good, you guys. If you have your elbows to your knees, squeeze those knees into your elbows and press those elbows back out. That'll open up the sacrum, really nice for low back. Beautiful. Release those hands. We all lift back up in those hips. Tiptoe your feet in. Bend the knees a whole lot and slow roll your way up. Shoulders lift up to those ears, down and away. Feet are hip distance apart, hands to your hips. Turn your left foot out slightly. And then a giant leap forward with that right foot, right into a warrior one stance. Square off your hips, bend into your front knee, take those arms up to the ceiling, inhale. So it's okay if your tailbone uncurls here. It's a little bit more lift in the chest into a back bend. But to support that, draw the navel to your spine. Big inhale. Bending your elbows into those cactus arms, open up the chest, exhale. Inhale, reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, bend those elbows, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Last time, breath in and breath out. Beautiful, reach back up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the hands down to the floor. We're gonna step that back foot forward about halfway. The toe can still turn out or all 10 toes face forward. So pyramid pose, feet are railroad tracks versus on a tightrope. And just kind of shift your weight around a little bit until you feel some stability in your weight, evenly distributed best you can. And then we'll bring the hands to the hips, taking your gaze gently forward, nice flat back, start to squeeze and engage core. Inhale to rise up, pressing into your feet. We'll interlace the fingertips behind the head. Okay, but this time take your thumb and wrap around the neck. So you're like holding onto your head. You're lifting your head up off your body. Lift up, up, up. Keep that, and then imagine the head going forward as you fold. Keep going, go really slow here. Draw the hips back more. Keep going, keep going. Lift your kneecaps up so you're engaging quads. Eventually you're in a fold here and continue to create a little traction. And then we release the hands to the floor, soften the knees, step back, finding down dog or child pose. Again, little wiggle, shake it out. then walking the hands back again. Remember, you could do that through down dog or child's pose. We start to lower the heels down. We rise up one vertebrae at a time. Take those shoulders up to the ear, squeeze, squeeze. Exhale is down and away. Same procedure, second side, warrior one. Right foot turns out at a 30-degree angle. Giant leap forward with that left foot. Again, square off your hips towards the top of your mat. Bend into that front knee, arms reach up to the ceiling, warrior one. Virabhadrasana A. Good, you guys. Rotate that back thigh bone in to square off. Look up, maybe bend back a little bit, feeling the chest broadening. Yes, good. Inhale here. Bend your elbows, open up the chest. Exhale. Great. Two more. Inhale, reach up. As if you're moving through water. Exhale, bend those elbows. Squeeze and lift up in the heart. One more time. Yes. Exhale to bend those elbows. Lift up in the chest. Awesome. Breath in to reach up to the ceiling, bringing the hands down to the floor. Frame your foot. Step that back foot forward about halfway. Okay, good. So you're in pyramid pose. Yes, good, good. Nice dance, you guys. We're all in on railroad tracks versus a tight rope. Bring the hands to your hips. Work towards straightening out that front leg. With a nice flat spine, start to lift up. Start with the gaze. The body follows. Beautiful. All right, taking those hands up to the ceiling, taking them behind your head. Take your thumb, again, just wrap around the neck and then start to lift the head up off your head. Take an inhale, pull that belly in again, and then exhale, start to fold again. Go slow, keep taking the head forward even more. Good, engage your core. Lots of work in the legs here as well, toning the legs. All right, keep going, you got it. Awesome, guys. Once you've reached your edge, releasing those hands, and then stepping back, down dog, child's pose. However you want to get there. If you want to chaturanga, moving through plank, kneeling, plank, please do so. Lowering yourself down, little vinyasa, bending those elbows, lean forward, big lift in your chest. Open that heart center. Exhale back into down dog or child's pose. Take 2 full breaths. Big inhale in. Exhale, let it all go. Beautiful. Let's go and drop onto those knees. Option is go ahead and turn yourself to the long edge of your mat. We're moving into frog pose. So we prepped ourselves early for this. You'll start to open those knees up, turn those toes out. The ankles can be a little bit wider than your knees. Drop on down to those forearms and keep scooching your knees out as far as your body will let you. And then start to focus on that exhale again. Long breath out. Every exhale, we let go of that which is no longer of service. We also create the space within for the next breath. Couple more breaths here. And then you'll come out of the pose. I would say the path of the least resistance for you. You can come up first or just shimmy the legs together. And do any counter you'd like here, hip circles, maybe a little cat-cow. Just wiggling out. We're going to find a seat next. Taking those legs forward, tap out those knees, rotate those ankles around. And then bring the left knee into your chest, over the extended leg. Left hand behind you, moving into your twist. Inhale, exhale to twist and rotate. Over to the left as you gaze over your shoulder. And then come back around. Grabbing hold of your ankle, draw that ankle back. If you can, knee on top of knee. If that's too much, just stay exactly as is, okay? We're using this to weight down that bottom leg, creates more sensation for the hamstrings. Inhale, sit up tall in the spine. And then exhale, start to walk the hands forward. Now, if your foot is on the floor, you'll just do the same thing, except you'll just roll into your knee. And then coming back up. Go ahead and take a hold of that left foot, place it to your inner thigh. Let the knee open up, hip opener this time, arms go up to the ceiling. Exhale to forward fold. And then rising up, go ahead and take your right leg a little more to the right side. You're a little more open into a V shape. Left hand on the floor, move into a half circle. Start to lift your hips up. So this is a back bend, heart opener. So start to reach back, push the hips forward. And then coming back down to the floor. Inhale, arms go up to the ceiling. Exhale to reach forward, forward, and down. And then walking those hands back up. Move into a V shape, extending the legs out. Inhale, take those arms up to the ceiling, bending over to the right on the exhale. And back up through the center, over to the left, breath out. Inhale, come back up. Over to the right again, exhale, this time hold. Send the lower belly up to the ceiling. You need that support for your shoulder. Just place your hand on your head. And then we come back up, inhale. Exhale over to the left. Same thing. So stretching muscle in the low back. It's a square-shaped muscle, QL muscle. Then open in the lower belly again, looking up. And then rising back up, releasing those arms. Lean back, draw the legs together. Little tap of the knees. Bend your knees, feet to the floor, toes facing forward, fingertips facing forward. Roll the shoulders back. Stay there or start to lift up in your hips, right into reverse tabletop. Your gaze can be past the knees or up to the ceiling. And then lowering back down into the floor. Straighten out that left leg. Right foot over the extended leg. Moving into our twist. Right hand behind you. Exhale to twist and turn. And then back around to the center, grab a hold of your ankle. You can draw back or remember to keep the leg as is. Inhale here, exhale to walk those hands forward and fold. And then rising back up, you'll go ahead and just place that right foot to your inner left thigh. Janu Shirshasana. Sit tall, press down, reach high to the sky. Exhale to fold. You feel a lot of rounding in the upper spine. See if you can just start to soften the heart a little bit more. Relax the shoulders from the ears. And then finally we come up, we extend that left leg off to the left a little bit more, right into our half circle. Right hand is base, lift those hips, reach up to the ceiling, taking a little back bend as you push the hip forward. Remember, support your low back by drawing belly into spine. And then lowering yourself down, inhale, arms reach high. And we fold here, exhale. And then bringing yourself up. Bringing the legs forward, feet are mat distance, mat distance apart. Go ahead and let the knees fall to the left and to the right. We're moving into half pigeon next. If you want to come down for the pose, lie down for the pose, please do so. Otherwise, you can stay in the seat and you could just go right into it. So right leg can come forward, opposite leg can extend back. Left leg can extend back. So we all know the shape of this pose. We work towards the shin bone parallel to the top of the mat. It's okay if the heel comes in a little closer to the groin. If you're lying down on your back, ankle above your knee, and bring the legs into your chest, and then we fold over the leg. Okay, so take your time getting there, you guys. You can use props underneath your hip for support. Good, and then fold when you arrive. And then make sure you make any adjustments you need to here. Tendency is to lean over into that bent knee a whole lot. See if you can just level out a little bit. And sometimes it helps to just think of that back thigh turning in. Yeah, so a really small adjustment. It helps to keep your spine, your lifeline, that's your spine, elongating, open. Good. And then fold whenever you're ready. Beautiful. Okay, going back to those long exhales. With every inhalation, let there follow an exhalation twice as long. And then making your way into any counter posturing. Take your time to come out. You can step back into all fours. You can move through down dog. If you're lying down, wipers is a really nice option. I see scorpion. I see hip circles. And your second side when you're ready. Again, however you want to get there in your own way and in your own time. Awesome. Align the spine, lengthening. Square off the hips, and then fold over your legs. Again, you guys, for those of you in that seated variation with the heel closer to your groin, it's a slightly different stretch. You're doing internal rotation of your thigh, which is lovely for the outer hip and glutes. If you want to get deep in that piriformis muscle, it's a muscle by the sciatica, you want to work towards the shin bone parallel to the edge of your mat. Either way is a great stretch. Those of you lying down with the legs ankle crossed, just keep drawing that thigh away from your chest. You can press with the hands or just encourage it away. You bring the legs into your chest, same feeling. That bent knee moving away from your chest, foot is flexed. Couple more breaths here, longer on the exhale. When we exhale out longer, you're also using more oxygen. You get more oxygen for your brain, for your body. And then eventually into your counter posture, circling around, wipers. And you're either going to lie down or remain in a seat for final posture. If you want to stay in meditation seat, otherwise lie down on your back and just find a restful pose. If you're in a seat, again, you could do some wipers just to kind of wipe the slate clean before meditation. If you're lying down, same thing, do some wipers or happy baby. And then start to settle into stillness. If you're lying down, once again, take up as much room as you'd like for rest. If you're in your seat, allow the eyes to start to close. Remember, once again, your intention. Allowing that thought, that feeling to wash over you. And we become actively calm as we connect deeply with breath. And starting to soften all the muscles in the body. Relaxing the mind. And as you rise in remembering, planting that seed of intention in your thoughts, and letting that sink down towards your heart center. The mind, our thoughts are electric, our feelings, our emotions are magnetic. That feeling of love, light, gratitude, joy, igniting every cell in your body, radiating from your heart center. And at this point, if you'd like to remain in final pose, if you're lying down, please do so. Otherwise, start to awaken your body, wiggling toes and fingers, rotating wrists, ankles around. If you're in a seat, you can reach those arms overhead, stretch it out. Eventually rolling to one side of your mat, and you'll meet us in a seat to seal our practice together. And today let's take a Lotus Mudra, pinky and thumbs to touch, shield your hands to touch, right at the heart, being in that state of receiving. If you close your eyes, if you bow your head, I bow in deep gratitude to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being. We'll bring the thumbs up towards the third eye center in our Lotus Mudra as we ask for guidance for learning. We bring it to our lips as we continue to speak our truth with clarity and compassion. And then back to the heart center. I leave you with love and light. I leave you with power and with peace. Om Namaste.